Welcome everyone. Happy New Year. Great to have you here. Great to be back here with the Deep Funding community. And now let's get into what is Deep Funding. Let's give a little bit more context for everyone watching that is new, either here, either on YouTube. And we start, of course, with what is Deep Funding, but we start also with our agenda for today, which is pretty packed, I would say, which is exciting. Starting eventually with Deep Funding strategic highlights for this year, or with the Community Hub RFP, whatever we prefer to start with. Um, Also, having a presentation here by William or Bill, not sure what you prefer, but great to have you.
Both are fine. No issues. Thank you.
Right. Great to have you about intelligent ocular image generation, a proposal by Photrack, and he's going to dive deeper into the work they've done, some super interesting work, and also just get some community feedback, which is amazing. It's always good to see proposals developing, being complete, and also getting the community involved. So thank you for being here. And if we have time, let's see, we'll talk a little bit as a community about what are our expectations for 2025. Let's get into what is deep funding and why we are all here. Well, basically, deep funding is a decentralized grants program tasked with the goal of funding projects and initiatives that are beneficial to SingularityNET and to the overall mission, which is the creation of a democratic, decentralized, and beneficial AGI. And that's why we're all here. And if you want to join this community and be a part of this mission, all we ask is for you to follow a little bit these values here of openness, creativity, collaboration, and kindness, because these are the best values for us to collaborate towards a mission that is not easy and that will require a lot of us to work together. Deep Funding, of course, is a community-run program, so there's a lot of space for you as a community member to participate and to leave your mark. You can propose any kind of project that you feel is beneficial towards the mission we are trying to achieve and that would help us get there. You can also vote on what you think are the best and most interesting proposals out there, and that will help us reach this common goal. You can be part of the review now with expert reviews, you can actually apply and start reviewing as a community member many of the projects that are coming here. You can also just leave some comments and suggestions on the platform on how they could improve. Here with events like this one, you're part of the discussion. It's deep funding is super open. We actually hear a lot of the community. In fact, we're all community members working here above all. So you can actually be part of governance and decision making through these calls. It's just a matter of raising your hand or unmuting yourself and speaking. And of course, you have the circles. The circles are the ones doing a lot of the operations for deep funding. We have marketing circle, we have review circle, we have this event circle, and this is basically just community members that are organized and working towards deep funding. And as for the town hall, as for this event here, is a place for the community to gather to discuss everything related to deep funding, and also the perfect place to learn, to ask questions, engage, and to get to know each other. And we have also a community portal, and this is a little new slide for this year. I guess we need to wait for the new year to make changes to the slide deck. But yeah, you can join us here. You have the QR code to the community website, and here you can see what the circles are doing. You can see the opportunities to join the circles as well if you want to be part of the community and help driving the funding forward in a more active manner. You can book presentation slots for this event and for the other events we are doing, and you can also keep track of the progress and everything that is happening. And yeah, we actually would love to hear from you to presentations like the one from Bill. So please feel free to go to the community website. Feel free to book your presentation. You can also host a breakout room if you want to have a more, I don't know, relaxed environment with less people. So feel free to come and to discuss anything you want, your project, your ideas, things you believe are important. It's open for your voice. And now let's maybe start with the Deep Funding 2025 strategic highlights, Jan, or anything else you want to say, or we can start with the community apps. Please tell me what you prefer.
Happy New Year. That's all I wanted to say. And then I'll just jump to that strategy thing. I don't think a lot of things that I will tell here are new. I will also do it rather quickly since we have two other important topics here. But since it is the beginning of the new year, maybe this is a good moment to wrap it up and remind everybody what we're working on, what we have been working on, and yeah, why 2025 is hopefully going to be a wonderful pivoting year. So let me share my screen so you can read along. That makes it a little bit easier, I think. Ooh.
You can now. You can now.
Here
I
we
was
go.
not fast enough finding the co-host button.
Let me see. Yeah, you're seeing it, right? So,
Yeah.
one moment,
Yes.
one moment. Yeah, I don't see the screen share myself now for some reason. But anyway, I wrote down this strategy actually and give you a sneak peek. I can't see exactly what you are seeing right now for some reason. Let me check. No, I don't know. But
We are
anyway,
currently in we can see the strategy main themes, focus in the
yeah,
middle, and now you're a bit to the left. We can see a board with a lot of
yeah.
things.
Yeah, so I won't go over this board. This is a sneak preview. If we have time next week in the all hands, I wouldn't mind going with all of you over this board. It's a representation of all the things that we're doing in deep funding and all the current and emerging circles and so on. So if you're interested in that, you're welcome to join next week's all hands. Unless there are more important topics on the agenda, but I'll have to negotiate that with the event circle. So these are the strategy main themes. There are three things basically here: deep funding as a platform, scalability, and growth. And the first one is maybe most interesting and is also a good introduction for the Community Hub's RFP that we will be talking about later. And we'll embed that a little bit in a wider strategy of the things we are doing. So, yeah, what we are aiming for in one sentence is to develop deep funding not just as an outlet for the treasury of the deep funding, but also make it scale out and make it a platform that other entities, groups, people can utilize as well. That's a trajectory and that's an ambition. We'll see how it will play out in the real world. So one thing that we are working on already and that we want to continue in 2025 is diversification of our funding methods. That means that we started with deep funding rounds roughly twice a year already, although we currently are behind on that schedule, but for very good reasons. Then we had some great RFPs, so that's a new initiative. We are working now on the ideation part for that will allow you, the community, also to work in creating and developing RFPs together with us. And that already happens a little bit, but we want to formalize that more into a process and something that we can present and work on online with everybody. There are other things in the pipeline as well, something that we call open challenges, which will be an ongoing fund. So there's always something there, but that's a topic for another day. The second thing is we want to diversify our community. So it's great to have you all here in this town hall. But we think we can do even better. We've got a very good example of the Latin town halls by Guillermo and Ines. And we thought we might be able to do more of that. There were also some proposals coming in now and then in deep funding rounds, and we're now structuring that a little bit more. But the idea is to scale out the communities to create more sub-communities there. But I'll stop there, Rafael. You can explain that in much more detail than I do. So diversify funding, diversify communities, and that will open up the opportunity, both of these things, to also get additional funding sources in. One way would be to have partner RFPs that we do with other organizations. So in a 50-50, we will provide 50 parts of the funding and the partner will provide 50 funding. I can also imagine at some stage this will also come out of the community hub. If there's a community hub that is really successful and engaged about what they're doing, maybe at some point they want to do initiatives that are not aligned with the purpose of deep funding per se, but if they bring in their own resources, their own money, they would still be able to use the platform for whatever they want to do. So that is something we might already see in the next year as an experiment where a third party bringing their own money would be able to do things that are aligned with our mission and vision, but maybe not particularly aligned with our specific goals of growing the AI, decentralized AI platform. So yeah, all these things will take time to emerge, but these are things that we will be working on next year. Another important thing, scalability. We are growing consistently, and with these new initiatives, we hope that we will be able to grow continuously and maybe even at a faster pace if everything works out. So our backend automation is a very important part of that, and we are very lucky to have Roho leading that initiative, and we want to scale up that part of the work. Scalability also relates to reviews, ratings, and voting. That's an ongoing puzzle, how we on one hand do everything as decentralized as possible, but at the other hand also make sure that we can do it at scale. One of the initiatives that Rafael Preza is working on is an AI supporting tool in that reviews and ratings. We have had discussions on the voting process with the VoteRec team here. And yeah, I think we will go through some iterations before we have the Holy Grail there. And then finally, organization and governance will also help with scalability, the circle structure, and making sure that will work in making it self-correcting and self-steering and self-improving. That will also allow us to scale up. And growth, we are having 3 marketing circles. So we want to grow our engaged community. We want to grow the development community. We had a very successful hackathon last year. The first time we did it, it was better than I could ever have imagined. And yeah, I would like to have more of that, more and bigger. So I hope the development outreach team will be completely ready for that. Partnerships, already mentioned it in funding sources. There are some emerging opportunities there. We will see how that will turn out. But in principle, I think that could also be a major growth factor if we do that right. And then last but not least, I think, well, if we do all these things the right way, we will probably also see some increasing brand awareness, maybe also related to ASI. We'll see how that works out. But I think there's just a very small fraction of the people, even in Web3, and even that are interested in AI and blockchain, that actually know about deep funding. So we have a world to win there. And I hope that we will see that also at the end of the year. We will have some higher level of brand awareness. I'll stop sharing here. So yeah, those are my goals, or the emerging goals and the emerging strategy for deep funding 2025 and beyond, I suppose. We won't ever finish all of these things. If you have any questions about this, let me know now or afterwards, async, whatever you prefer.
Yeah, questions or comments, anything you want to say, anything you want to add? Now it's the perfect time, I would say.
And otherwise, if you want to know more about particularly the organization and governance and the structure, etc., then if Rafael here allows it, then you're all very welcome next week at the All Hands.
Yeah, of
Which is
course.
more internally focused. That is why I'm not presenting it here right now. This is more the community version of our meeting.
Yeah, of course, everyone is always welcome. That's why it's called Open All Hands, for you guys to be there and see the discussions and participate, even if you're not a circle member. So yeah, come join us. It's Wednesday, 2 p.m. UTC next week. All right. If there's no questions, no hands up, let's move on with what I think is a pretty interesting, or a pretty waited for, I guess. We took a while to make it happen. Announcement that is the community hubs RFPs is live, and you can apply already with any ideas for the community hubs. Maybe you're asking what is a community hub, and I'll share a little bit about that. I'll share here the RFP as well, which is in the Deep Funding platform. So you can already find it there, and here you can find everything you need to know about the RFP and how you can apply. I would like to start by, I think, thanking the community and a lot of the people participated to make this RFP possible. You know, we had so many people. We had some calls with the focus group, calls with the marketing circle, with the dev outreach circle, LATAM town hall, like other members of the community, such as Duke and others participating and giving their feedback. So that's awesome. Also, a lot of work from the events circle team. So thank you. And from the Deep Funding team, who also participated with some insights and some review on this proposal. So it's the work of many people, and it's great to be live. And for us, what we hope is for these community hubs to be a way for you to create communities around what you care about, right? Whatever topic you feel is interesting for you, you can create a community, you have something that binds all the group, and then you can connect it to Deep Funding. And there are many examples. Here are some examples of things you can do, but it can be almost anything you like that fits into this goal. Like, I don't know, for example, you care about agriculture, you can do an agricultural hub, and maybe you can discuss how AI could improve some of the agricultural processes. You could bring people working in that area with developers and everything, and maybe come up with proposals for the funding of things that would be useful to your own interests and your own business. So we do see a lot of potential in many ways, and especially potential to create more targeted content and better content than the one we can create here, which is much more general and maybe not so much focused on your specific interests, right? So we hope that that's what will happen. And of course, the big goal of these hubs is to decentralize Deep Funding in many ways and hopefully grow it faster as well. I can go a little bit over the RFP. I don't know. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can see here what we want is basically in this RFP, the important thing, we have here some guidelines, but the important thing is for you to share your strategy, your idea of how you could create an hub, which kind of events or initiatives you could do to grow this hub, and to grow as well participation in Deep Funding. Those are the major goals, and we are open for you to share anything that goes in that line. And even though you have here some guidelines, it's okay to go a little bit off from these guidelines as long as you have a proposal that makes sense and that would be overall beneficial for Deep Funding. We try to be, we are a bit specific here also with payments, with performance metrics, which are important because at the end of the day, it's important to measure what are the impact of these community apps, how can we make the community apps increasingly more impactful, and we, as the event circle, will be supporting you through all this process and trying to make your community apps successful as well. And that's why it's important to measure and also to reward properly the people doing a great work in putting in all the extra hours, the extra effort, and to achieve these results. So that's something we have also here in the proposal. And yeah, just go through it, take a look. If you have any questions, feel free to message. I guess me, Jan, messaging any social media. We'll try to be paying attention on Mattermost as well and try to get questions. You can also come to these events, to the town hall, to the open all hands, and just ask your questions, and would happily engage with you if you need to do so. Yeah, and I think overall, this is it. I also don't want to take too much time. And if you have any questions, anything you want to say, please feel free to raise your hand or to unmute yourself and ask. Now is the time. I guess no questions. Everyone is very relaxed today after the the new year.
Well, while people are oh, there's Judith. Judith, go ahead.
Meant to raise my hand earlier, but I couldn't find the raise hand button for some reason. I already wanted to comment on Jan's presentation, but I'll go ahead with this bit. First of all, thank you for fully developing this RFP. I read through it this morning, and I'm really happy to see how far it came and how detailed it turned out, because I know the first iteration of this document, which was just a tiny, I guess, a few ideas. So it's really great to see this finally live on a website, and I'm super excited to see who applies, and I'll be definitely monitoring and watching this. I think there's nothing particular I would add to it. I think it's very comprehensive, and I'm really happy that you figured out the what's it called, the compensation and the tiered compensation as well. I think that was something that we struggled with, trying to figure out how we're going to go about it. So it's really nice to see. So well done. I guess that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Judith. And thank you as well for your contributions during this process. You are one of the people who were contributing. So yeah, this is all from you as well. And from everyone who helped. I guess it's all community driven, right? If you want to say something about Jan's presentation as well, feel free. Always good. Never too late.
I forgot the point. I already looked at it yesterday.
Sorry.
And I was meant to make a comment, but right now it doesn't come to mind, so I'll have to think about it.
All right, no worries. All right.
Yeah, maybe I can say a few words in tying this now to the strategy. I think this is a shot in the dark, this community hubs. Nobody knows whether it will be a success. We could have 0 submissions, or we could have 25 great ideas, and I have no idea which of these ones it will be, or if it will be somewhere in the middle. Personally, I think that if we are able to make this work, it would be a great strategic move for deep funding. My personal belief is that it is easier and more interesting to collect people around a certain topic. Could be a regional thing, but it could also be a topic like Rafael explained, because everybody is enthusiastic about the same thing and people want to talk and share, etc. So that's my hope, that people collect and come together to talk about that one domain that they're so enthusiastic about, learn from each other, and that we can use that as a springboard and an onboarding ramp for deep funding. And yeah, that's why the KPIs are things like how many proposals will come out of that hub. And that's the idea, that this hub, the people will help each other to create great proposals for deep funding that will benefit us all. And yeah, maybe they will also it will also lead to some people joining us here in the circles in the program itself. And maybe it will lead to more eyeballs and more visitors. I think doing it this way, the chances that we will be able to scale up our community, our engaged community, in a fast pace are much higher. But having said that, it's a shot in the dark. And we had some good examples, like I said, the Latin town halls, they're doing great. But we also felt we needed to structure this a little bit and not do one-offs with people and have different propositions for different people, etc., but make one template and one structure so that everybody has the same chances and gets the same support from us. And that will also enable us to learn. So this is an experiment like we've done many times before in Deep Funding. And I'm sure that we will learn a lot. Maybe a half a year from now, we'll say we'll never do it like this again with the knowledge that we have today. Or maybe it's just great. But I'm pretty sure some things will change or we will have some adaptation. So also, please don't hold that against us if we change the rules a little bit while we're learning and getting new insights. And yeah, I would love to invite you, all of you here or watching it later, to give it some thought. And maybe you don't have time or interest yourself, but maybe you know somebody who would like to start organizing this. So yeah, let's say the word, and yeah, let's make this a success together.
Yeah, I would say that last part is also very important and something, I would like to mention, but I was forgetting about, is how this process is very new and we'll have to adapt, we'll have to make changes, but we'll be working with the teams, discussing with the teams what are the changes, even for your operations, because some things might not be the best right now and we can improve. So yeah, I think it will be a process of a lot of communication, even with these proposals. We have all the intention to get back to you and tell you what you think about what we think about the proposal, what could be a little bit more aligned, less aligned, and help you throughout the process. So even if you feel you don't know everything, but if you have an idea, just put it out there and we'll work on it and find something good that we can build upon, I believe. So yeah, excited to see what comes out of it. Hopefully we have ideas. If not, it's okay. I think it's worth trying this decentralization for sure and give the opportunity to the community to do this kind of initiatives because I've been part of other community proposals like Deep Funding Academy and things like that. And one of the big difficulties is even though you can be doing a lot of great work and great impact, the continuity, right? Finding funding to continue your efforts after you finish the proposal is hard. And hopefully this RFP model will make the process a bit easier and we'll have just community initiatives that have more longer term impact, longer term continuity, and don't have to finish because of lack of funds, hopefully, especially if they are being impactful, right?
But maybe one thing on the numbers. We have limited the maximum amount. Also, because we want to be careful about the workload it will give to us and to the event circle. And this is new thing, it will take a lot of attention. So we're actually aiming for 3, maybe 4, I don't know, Rafael, you tell me, new hubs to start out with. That would be great to have that. Now, if there are 10 or 15 great proposals, maybe it's still better to start with a few to learn some things to get them going. But there are chances that if that would happen, that after 3 months or 6 months, we'll do another round and we'll have 3 more or 5 more or whatever we think is feasible with the experience that we will learn in between. So on one hand, I want to motivate everybody to submit your proposal because there's a limited amount of hubs that can be started. And yeah, of course, there's nothing greater than be the first one in the first batch. You'll be ahead of the pack and you'll learn most and you'll be the most mature one and the senior one, and nobody can take that away from you anymore. On the other hand, it is a start, and I hope it will be successful and that we will see a lot more coming from this.
Well, if there's no more questions right now, let's move forward and let's move forward with Bill's presentation. Bill, are you ready? Let me make you co-host. to be able to share your screen. And would you like me to share your PowerPoint presentation here in the chat as well?
I do. Well, thanks. I just popped it in the chat myself.
All right.
So people should have access to it, though. I appreciate that. And I have to say, we appreciate the opportunity to come and chat with everybody. In fall 2024, I was teaching my big data course during the town halls. So it's possible that even though I see a lot of familiar faces, it's possible that several people don't know who I am or necessarily who PhoTrack is. So let me do a little bit of introduction, and then we'll get on with the topical part. Bill Thistleton, it says William, but I'm Bill Thistleton. I'm a mathematician at SUNY Poly, part of the State University of New York, in the middle of the state, Utica, New York. I'm a director of our graduate program, and I'm also co-director of a new center in artificial intelligence exploration, building products, putting products into people's hands, doing workforce training, and studying the sort of human AI interaction. It's really fun being part of that. A couple other projects for people who don't know me that I'm doing these days and would be delighted to talk to people about. We're engaging with several colleagues from Nigeria. We're hosting them in our center over the spring. That's part of the National Universities Commission project. It's a big World Bank project. And also SUNY as a system has a new initiative called SUNY Africa, and we're working with Nigeria, Ghana, and Kenya and trying to get not only students to come over and study, but to get faculty to interact, all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of me in my SUNY life, in my PhoTrack life, and it's just been delightful to work with PhoTrack for the last 2 or 3 years. We put together a project, and one of the explicit goals of the project was to develop a team where you could throw a dart at the globe and hit a country or at least a continent from one of our members. So we have delightful and insightful colleagues from India, from Ghana, from Brazil, from the United States, from Canada, who have been working together. And as I say, it's just been a thrill working with everybody. I'm going to, if I can do this correctly, this is always the interesting part. I guess are you seeing my talk now?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Okay. So the broad goal here, intelligent ocular image generation. You can go to a facility like Gemini, of course, and type in generate a fundus image. And now that this wasn't true a few months ago, now you really can get a fundus image. But if you want 100 or 1,000 fundus images where you have some disease state that you're particularly interested in, so I'd like to know, what do these retinal images, the back of your eye is like a screen. What do the retinal images look like for people with diabetes, or name your condition? It's going to be harder to do that. And as everybody knows, I think from using Gemini, ChatGPT, if you do queries in a one-off manner, they're going to give you a free product, and you type in, what restaurant should I go in Utica this afternoon? You're gonna get a response. But as soon as you start developing a more fundamental project and you start looping, and you're going to need 100,000 or 1,000,000 responses, it's not going to work for you anymore. And so the question is, how do you generate synthetic images of high quality and scientific interest with some specificity? That's what this project has been all about. There are several people, as I said, and as the team members, I see everybody here, as the team members come in, they'll introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about their background. And let's see. I believe Joanna, we talked about this before, is going to speak to this slide, unless I misunderstood you, in which case I'll speak to this slide. But
No,
I think you're there.
I'm here. Yeah, of course. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bill. Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys already know who PhoTrack is, but for those of you that don't, at PhoTrack, but we position ourselves as an innovative innovation company, and we mostly focus on 3 sectors. So risk intelligence, DAO governance, and environmental impact. A lot of our work within SingularityNET and Deep Funding especially has been around the risk intelligence and DAO governance, but hopefully within the next few months as well, we're going to hopefully get funded to develop some environmental impact solutions as well. So we're very excited to explore that. But mainly we focus on developing cyber governance capabilities to ensure that superintelligence is integrated into society in the most beneficial and safest way possible. Thanks.
You all set? Thanks, Joanna. So I'll tell you a little bit about the project, and then I'll tell you a little bit about the talk, and I'll turn it over to Ange. We, as I said, wanted to bring together researchers and developers from lots of places, and we were able to, though there were some challenges along the way, as with any development project, generate really beautiful retinal fundus images. So check. It was a success as far as that goes. The part of this talk that I would like a lot of participation from the folks who are here, both in real time during this meeting, and then we can always have our discussion offline. And in particular, I've put a couple of posts up on Mattermost, but I think with the holiday, it's been hard getting a lot of traction there. But we're living in very exciting times, right? So some of us remember when email became a thing, and then what's a web page? Oh, look at this. I can click on my computer and go somewhere. Very exciting times in artificial intelligence, and that leads to sort of interesting opportunities, questions, things to solve. And one of those has to do with access and equity. You know, it's very easy for the rich to get richer. And we want to make sure that as we move forward with artificial intelligence, I think everybody in this group shares this, that we're moving forward together. And so we're particularly interested in a product like this in discussing, you could call it pricing models, you could call it access, you could talk about equity, but we want to make sure that sort of everybody has an opportunity to move forward. The rub there, of course, is that you still need to have a set of incentives for the people who are producing the products, or they're just going to do other things. So there's a little bit of a balance, and I don't think it's obvious how to do this. So we'll share some of what we've discovered, but then I want to get everybody's opinion on that as well. And we'll talk about some partner institutions also. So the presentation overview, and I'm about to turn it over to Ange, who will give her introduction and then move on to some of her technical ideas. We tried VAE and we tried GAN on this, and we found that the VAE was a little rocky, but the GAN was very, very beautiful. And so again, success. One of the things that Photrek as a company tries to do is work in sort of risk intelligence. And there's this concept of coupling and dealing with nonlinear systems, nonlinear connected systems, correlated, you might say. And so we'll talk a little bit about how coupling can come in and hopefully make some improvements on the model. We'll talk a little bit about our, broadly speaking, ethics framework and partners. And then we'll talk a little bit more directly about developing pricing, incentive, and availability models. And so, Ange, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Bill. Hope I'm audible to everyone, and Happy New Year to all. I would like to start with a small question. What if we could prevent blindness for millions of people simply by using artificial intelligence? That's the future we are building with generative adversarial network, or we call it to be the GAN. So GAN are like a digital artist. So Bill, if you press the enter, you can see the images. Yeah. Now it is like an artist who started doing his artistic work. So after they learn with the generator and discriminator, you will be able to see that they learn to replicate these complex patterns such as the fundus images of the eye. So this allows us to create synthetic images that are almost indistinguishable from the real ones, enabling faster, more accurate, and accessible diagnostics. So with the support of deep funding, we are transforming ophthalmology to provide better care for millions globally. Second slide, please. So to achieve this, we trained generative adversarial network using the fundus 1000 dataset, a diverse collection of images representing various eye conditions. So totally there are 39 categories under this one, which you can see in this particular chart. So here the GAN works. The generator creates synthetic images. You can see a discriminator which evaluates these images and provides the feedback. The generator automatically improves its output based on these feedbacks. So this iterative process enables GAN to refine their skills, producing synthetic images that capture even the smallest detail of real-world fundus pattern. Next slide, please. Can you press enter, Bill?
There we go.
Yeah, thank you. So here you can see the GAN into action. So earlier, when we start training the GAN, if you look at the fifth epoch, the first image, which shows that the images are rough or blurry and they lack detail or similar to that of the novice artist who first starts sketching. So now look at the 190th epoch. The image become highly detailed and realistic, showcasing that they have created the entire process very effectively over here. So you can see as the training process, these synthetic images become highly detailed and more realistic, which mirror the intricacies of the real fundus images over here. So this is the outcome of our GAN in this particular case. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So this clearly shows why is this so important. That is how we are advancing synthetic fundus images generation for ophthalmology. Globally, if you see, according to World Health Organization, there are 285 million people live with visual impairment, and the access to diagnostic tools is a challenge in many areas. So GAN-generated images addresses these gaps, like training AI diagnostic system with high-quality synthetic images and enhancing telemedicine to reach underserved communities and accelerating more research in the field of ophthalmology. So with this technique, we are not just creating synthetic images, we are creating opportunities for faster, more equitable healthcare for millions of people. Next slide, please. So you can see from this, we have created using Gradio, the interface. So these images are not just pixels. They are pathways to better the healthcare. So finally, let us talk about the reliability of this one. Our GAN has achieved structural similarity index measure. That is the similarity between the fake and the real image. The similarity measure was 0.987, which is very closer to 1. It shows it is similar to that of the real images over here. And the mean square error is very, very less, which shows the dissimilarity. That is the error when we compare the real and the fake images, the error was very, very less in this particular case. So these performance metrics confirm that the synthetic images are virtually indistinguishable from the real ones. So what does it mean? It means these images can be trusted as a tool to train the AI system, improve the diagnostics, and support the medical advancements. They are not just pixel, they are pathway to better our healthcare. So GAN are more like technological breakthrough. They are a step towards the future where advanced diagnostics are available to all. With your support, we can continue pushing the boundaries of artificial intelligence and healthcare and transforming lives one pixel at a time. Thank you.
Thanks, Sanjay. That was a beautiful talk. I don't know if you said where your school is. Can you tell people where you're from?
Yeah. I am from Vellore Institute of Technology, Bangalore. I'm working as a professor here. I'm from Bangalore, India. So I'm a professor at International Center for Education and Research, and my area of specialization is in healthcare, especially using artificial intelligence in the field of healthcare. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Igor, why don't you tell us a little bit about what coupling is and how coupling might be used to advance what's already, incredible work.
Yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Igor Oliveira. I am from Brazil. I am a master in physics and I am also a developer at the Fortran. So here at the Fortran, we are also doing research in how to improve the game. And to do that, we are using principles from complex system and information theory into the game framework. So the goal here, the idea, is to enhance the behavior of the tail of data distribution. And with that, we can improve the anomaly detection in medical image, for example, of tumors and so on. Next, please. So to do that, here we have an image of the game framework, as Engage showed it to us. And the game does a sampling from a latent vector Z and use that vector to generate an image. So the key idea now is that we will sample the latent vector from a coupled distribution, capital Z. And when we do that, we will incorporate that in the locked function. The model can generalize better to see, uncommon feature that is not so common to see in every image. And with that, we can improve the model ability to detect anomalies. Next, please. So now we are doing some experiments, and it's pretty exciting. We had some good and promising results with the variational autoencoder, or VAE, but the VAE is not complex enough to medical images. So now we want to do that performance on the game. So we will have a coupled game that can generate complex medical image and they also highlight the anomalies in the data set. So now we will do some experiments and we will aim to improve even more the performance of the game in detecting the anomalies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Igor. Very nice. Thanks. And Musa, batter up.
Okay, hello everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Musa Ibrahim Ali. I'm a master's data science student and a research assistant working with the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab at KNUST, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana. The rapid advancements of technology and AI raises some critical concerns about ethics and equity, right? And particularly ensuring that there's fair outcomes across diverse populations. Now, AI systems, while being innovative, often inherit some of the biases that we have in some historical data that we have, right? Leading to unequal treatment of the marginalized groups that we would have in certain situations. Now, to address this, we require a balanced approach to promoting inclusivity in our developments, right? And some of those can be through mitigating the biases that we have there, and then maybe establishing clear ethical guidelines that can be used to enhance some of these issues. Now, without a proactive measure, such as without proactive measures, issues like perpetuating inequalities and then trust in some of the technologies or the tools that we build out of our machine learning techniques might not be responsible, although it will be innovative. Right. The next slide, please. Now, a quick overview of RAIL. So RAIL is a short form for Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab. It's hosted at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana, and its core mandate is to seek to establish some sustainable approach to nurturing local talents in Africa, and currently for some selected African countries from different disciplines to enhance the development of AI in Africa. But currently the focus has been more on empowering women to support their private and public sector. The next slide, please. All right, so there are some existing ways we can mitigate how responsible an AI model we develop can be, right? Some of those are like the IBM's Fairness 360, there's the Google What If tool, and then the Fairlearn. Now, while all of these ones are great, they focus on certain sections of the components that you would need to identify whether a solution that you've built is responsible or not. So, for example, the IBM's Fairness 360 focuses only on fairness, how fair the model is, and doesn't consider any other components of the ethics guidelines. Then there's the What If tool, which focuses on transparency, and then the Fairlearn focuses more on accountability. Right now, with Real, we looked at some of the existing tools that are there, and then decided to build one on our own that will be more effective at evaluating how fair a model is, or how ethical the model you are coming up with, or the solution in general is going to be. So for the 4 main stages of any AI development, where you have to envision the project or the solution, there are certain questions you need to ask yourself to make sure that you've actually considered the human aspect of the whole thing, and how it's going to affect the immediate society. Right, then you can also ask some questions when you are doing the data collection and the data curation stage, where you have to consider how ethical you are going to be with the data collection, how fair you are going to be in those instances, and then come up with a better way of collecting the data. Then during the model building process, so we've talked about biases existing in the data that we collect, but there are some instances where the algorithm that we develop itself can have some algorithmic biases, and we need to ensure that some of those biases are as minimal as possible, or we can try as much as possible to get rid of those. Then during the deployment stage as well, we need to make sure that there's equity in how we deploy the models or the solutions that we've built. I mean, it can be that because some people are deprived of internet access, they are not able to access a tool that could ease up their life, or in some way. So the whole concept is to measure these things, and the 4 stages, we measure how fair, accountable, confidential, how ethical the solution you are coming up with, so transparency, and then finally safety. So we have to consider all these components under every stage of the AI development pipeline, so that we are able to evaluate ourselves and see that if we can do something better to improve the solution that we are trying to build, then we do it that way. Now we term the platform facets. We term the platform facets, and then it gives the score for every single stage for all the different components that we have. So when you start, everything is 0, and when you start answering the questions, the color starts changing, and then your scores also start going up. So when you are on the yellow, it means that it's not that dangerous, but you could do better if you push yourself. Then when you get the green, it means that you are at a stage where you've considered a lot of the conditions that we are looking for to consider your project or your solution fair enough or ethical enough. Now, when you are through answering all the questions, you get a badge which you can attach to the solution. Currently, we are working on getting some international approval for the badge and the solution that we have. But this is the first iteration of the tool that evaluates the projects that we have. We are currently working on the second iteration, which adds a bit more explainable AI into the system, so the layman could just pick up the system and doesn't have to go through the documentations that comes with it to read to understand what is expected of the person. But just on the fly, they are able to look at the question and then put it in context and then answer, and then finally gets their output. Now, to access this tool, you can visit the real website, which is at real.kenust.edu.gh, or you could just search for the real facet framework. I'm sure the first link or the second link would link you to that. Then you can try out the tool. The next slide, please. All right, so
Actually, we edited a little. So
yeah,
here's your last slide. So I'm sorry, you might have said this. Did you put a link to the facets in our chat here so that people can access that easily?
yeah, let me put that in.
Terrific. Very good. And so I guess thank you, Musa. You've set the table beautifully. And now perhaps we can start bringing folks from SingularityNET in and talk a little bit about how to get good products into people's hands in such a way that you preserve incentives to the developer, as well as you advance with equity and accessibility. And I think one of my key takeaways from working with Musa is that ethics is not just going to happen. Ethics does not happen on its own. You have to push in order to make sure you're moving in a sort of proper ethical framework. So some things to keep in mind. I'll go through this quickly because I do want to get to everybody else. Anybody who's done ChatGPT or you've worked with Llama or Gemini, et cetera, you'll know what I'm talking about here. There's some very common models, token-based, that's a user consumption model, subscription-based if you have Google Plus or what have you, or value-based. And you're starting to see that in the literature more now, where there's almost a negotiation that goes on between a provider and a company. And you really work through how much value in decision-making, et cetera, is this adding? And again, I keep coming back to how do you incentivize innovation? Who pays? Who benefits? There are also issues of liability once you get into medical, right? If people are using your data set, you have some responsibility to be really, really good. And they have a responsibility to use your data set correctly. And another thing is how do you, and as I say, this is an exciting time. I don't think all of these questions have good answers at this point. But how do you measure customer value? If somebody's fooling around with ChatGPT in the car as they're driving somewhere and it keeps them company, that's sort of one thing. But if you're actually trying to set rates as an insurance company, do pricing models, if you're selling houses or airplanes, you really need to look carefully about how you're going to add customer value. So some of the words that we've been hearing today and that I'd like us to keep in mind as we have a little bit of a chat here is bias. Who did you train on? Fairness, sustainability. Everybody knows the utility and the energy requirements that are being used these days on some of these large language models. Explainability, that's a big one for many people. Transparency. And so I'd like to open the floor now maybe I will get out of, if I can figure out how to stop sharing, I will. Pause the share. No. How do I stop sharing? Maybe one of you guys can save me.
Should be the same button.
Oh, there we go. It was hidden.
Right.
The button was hidden. There we go. So as I say on Mattermost, there are a few channels that we can chat on. There's the awarded groups channel. There's the sort of town square, so to speak. And also, I want to thank Jan in particular for setting up an ethics channel, which hasn't gotten a lot of traffic yet, but I know it will. We can chat there. I'm going to be taking notes as well. If anybody has any direction, any ideas, any thoughts about how we as a community might sort of advance this conversation, that would be terrific.
Well, it would be great if Esther were here.
Yeah.
She's working on safety and ethics, and SingularityNET has partnered with a person called Matthew. Matthew, it was just on my mind, but now I'm Matthew Newman. And he has a lot of expertise. Actually, he used to be a supervisory council in the first batch of SingularityNET, but he got out rather quickly. So he's really working on safety and ethics. And one of the things he's working on is creating a kind of framework that isn't quite done yet, but I think we will have a few conversations in the coming months. And the way he is looking at it is doing it domain specific. And that indeed crossed my mind when I saw this presentation. So if you're making a health related AI service, then probably there are other things that you want to look out for and that you want to assess than if you're doing a DeFi or something for agriculture or whatever. So one of the things here is that, I hope we'll have some kind of framework that is domain specific, that gives some guidance to people that assess the ethics and safety level of any solution by providing some measurement area. So if this is health, then you have to look for this kind of bias, which was very clear in this presentation. By the way, I was wondering, a little bit semi-off topic, does the generation of images itself also counter or mitigate the risk of bias? Because when you just use images that are there are chances that you get a certain subset of the whole population. But when you generate it, you can generate it in any way that you like. Was that even a goal of the project?
That wasn't an explicit goal of the project, but it's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, just off the top of my head, I know that when you train a large language model, you're going to be biased on the corpuses that you trained on. And so I imagine that would happen with these images as well. But maybe Ange has something to say there.
Yes, sir. I'll add on to it. So when we generated this particular images, we just removed, when we started training those images, the demographic data of the patients have been removed over here. So that is how the ethics has been preserved in this particular case. The privacy of the data has been preserved in this particular case. And apart from that, to look into the bias that often originates from the data set, we ensure that since we have used this fundus 1000 data images, we augmented those data set with the real world images in order to underrepresent the groups in order to fill the gaps over here. So that is how we have encountered to overcome those bias, and we have validated it against the ground truth data. So that was also available over there in order to ensure the representation is correctly balanced across all the 39 categories. So that we checked with the different performance metrics in this particular case. And the another thing is we also need to include the domain experts like ophthalmologists in order to assess the generated images so that it has some fairness and has a clinical utility in this particular case. So that is how we plan to overcome these bias in this particular case. I hope I answered the question.
No, that was terrific. Maybe I can push just a little bit on something that Jan perhaps was alluding to, or at least is adjacent to what we were just talking about. If we're looking at fundus images, then we're already looking at a specific subset of the population, those who are receiving medical care. Do we have any reason to believe that people who have access to sort of, high quality medical care, are their images going to be different than the vast bulk of humanity who does not have access to that kind of care? Are we introducing a bias because of that, just because of who receives treatment?
No, sir. Actually, it is not with respect to the corresponding treatment. It is with relativeness to the quality of the images that we get.
Yeah, I was imagining all the available training data in the world, that you will see that some part of the population is overrepresented. But to train right, you would like to use as much of the data that you have available. So that puts you in a hard position. And then I imagine the solution that you're creating could actually focus more on generating the type of images that are underrepresented so that it evens out and you can train your next AI based on a more even and unbiased set of images.
So weighting, WEIGHT, weighting as they do in political surveys. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think if I'm getting what
Or are you
is
saying something different?
Generating so that you don't have to wait. So suppose that you have 10 images of American people and one image of European and multiply that by any or what you want, that the moment that you will be able to reliably generate images, you could generate 9 more of the European population. And then when you train your LLM or whatever, it will have an unbiased set to start with.
Brilliant. I see what you're saying. Very good.
But I think there's going to be a problem with generating more. The generator you are going to use to generate those images could also result in creating a bias you may not even anticipate. So in this case, I think the best case scenario would be to do some data augmentation where you create variants of what you already have. So in the scenario that you are making, that you have about 10 for Americans and then maybe 2 for Europeans, you focus more on augmenting the European data. So you create variants of what you already have, which is the 2. So you kind of create child images from those 2 images acting as parent images, where maybe you change the color tone a bit, flip it around, rotate it, crop some sections off and the rest. So you make more data out of what you already have instead of using another generative AI model to generate more, which could also result in a whole different kind of bias that you might not even anticipate.
But that comes down a little bit to the intelligence of the solution, right? If it's really intelligent, it would be able to augment what is available on the US population and then overlay that on whatever is specific on a European population and then create the same variation that would be available if you would have more images. So I was a little bit surprised when you presented all of this, that you're actually generating images, at least that's how I understand it, by an AI to allow another AI to train of those images, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when I think it was Kenrick or somebody or Joanna said, or maybe it was you, Bill, saying that there's a lot of precision in the solution, that allows you to create all kind of very specific conditions that might not be that available to you in the first place, or combination. I imagine that would be combinations of certain criteria that you could then generate at will that might not always be available first.
Interesting.
Before I'll build off of that, and also just want to thank the team. This has been really great working with the team that Bill put together from across the globe. It's a fun group doing exciting work. And as you're saying, Jan, a big part of our work in generative processes has been the idea that data sets are always hard to come by, always limited. And so we are seeing it as a vehicle to kind of pump, take the data set you have and then make it so that you can build a larger data set with more variation and also to be able to target different things.
Yeah.
And that new data set would be of utility to teams wanting to train other kinds of AI algorithms.
Yeah. And then I would imagine that you would be able to create unbiased by design because you know what you're putting into it. Of course, there's always the risk, as Musa's saying, that you have a blind spot, that you don't have a complete understanding of the total real variation and that you're limited. But in general, I would say in a perfect world, maybe, would be able to dedicate it to instruct the system to remove bias.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fascinating. Thank you for the presentation. Really learned something today. So great. I hope you will not only cure a lot of people with this, but also make a lot of money out of it. Because that was also part of the thing, right? In the last slide.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
But maybe somebody else here has something to say or to remark or to ask about the ethics or the incentivization model.
Yeah, if anyone has anything to say, please feel free. Also, Kevin, I saw that you had your hand, but then you left a message. I don't know if you want to add something and speak a little bit. If you are, feel free as well. All right. Well, if nobody wants to say anything, big thank you, Bill, and the rest of the team. I love the presentation of having like so many different people putting in their own perspective, bringing the thing they focused on the proposal. I think that was pretty great to see. I think you raised some very important questions, even in terms of the ethics, also in terms of how to compensate people and developers. I think that's a question that's not only exclusive to AI development, but to many areas that we are still figuring out. And of course, there's always value that you don't capture, and it's art because maybe you could capture more value in someone who gets really a lot of value, and through that make your product more accessible to other people who unfortunately either can't pay that much or don't get as much value to be able to pay the price that you have to do to be, I don't know, at least profitable or cover your costs and all of that, right? But that's a big conversation. I don't know how we can continue it, but maybe it's a topic to bring and to just, I don't know, share some ideas, like 10 minutes, and then try to get people to talk because it's very interesting. I would say, I think the best way to continue the conversation is if we can create some guiding questions or like something to organize like the community in terms of what to say, like things more specific, because sometimes the question can be a bit, broad to really dive into some insights. But I don't know how you like to proceed, just sharing some insight. Well, I guess if you're if there's no more questions, if nobody wants to say anything else, I think we really need to make something interesting, right? We are here. A lot of people were silent all the time, so now is the chance to change that, hopefully. And it's a new year, and we should mark this moment maybe by sharing a little bit of what are our expectations for this year, even in terms of deep funding or personal expectations, or even any resolutions. The new year is known by resolutions and things we want to try to improve. So I'd love to hear from you, community members, everyone, to share just 1 minute, a quick line of what you expect for 2025. It can be whatever you want in your personal life, in deep funding, or anything you'd like to change. And nobody's forced to participate. We'll try to call out some names just to make it easier and to make it organized. And if you want to say something, we'd love to hear from you. If you can't right now or you're not comfortable, it's okay. Hopefully, we'll have a chance to do that in the future. And I guess I can start and I can give the example just as we are starting with this idea. And I think I'll focus on expectations. And for myself, well, we are building a product that is a inheritance app that helps you recover crypto and leave crypto for your heirs. And definitely, we are looking forward to be able to launch it this year on mainnet. At least that's the goal. And for deep funding, I'm excited for the community hubs. It's going to be a lot of work for the event circle, but also it's going to be very exciting to see what the community comes up with, what ideas you have, and to just further decentralize deep funding, which is something I enjoy, this decentralization. Uh, Judith, you want to go next, or you want to do some comment that's not related?
Well, I would go next, but you can also just call out random people's names. I also like the idea.
No, it's cool. If you want to go first, please raise your hand. If not, I'll just call out. I think that's a great idea.
Were you finished with your idea?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, in 2025, my expectation, I shouldn't call it expectation, I should call it a wish for deep funding, is to see an increase in the quality of proposals that we're getting. And I think we're pretty well set up for that with the proposed changes for deep funding round 5. So I'm actually really excited to see how those changes. There's a whole blog post published about it. If you haven't read it yet, I would encourage you to, because it's really interesting. I'm really excited to see how these changes, or if these changes are going to have an impact on the quality of proposals we are receiving. I'm also really interested to see if through these changes, the amount of proposals that we're going to receive are going to decrease, or if we're going to receive around 200 again, or if we're going to be able to double. I'm personally more interested in having an increase in the quality of proposals than doubling or tripling or quadrupling any numbers. Obviously, increased numbers are always great if it comes with increased quality. But yeah, I think just getting in more quality people into the circles, receiving better quality proposals, and putting on quality projects onto the deep funding platform, I think that would be fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you, Judith. I think I'll start here from my screen, and I can see Miss Adi. Miss Adi, would you like to share something about your expectations for 2025? Are you here? Well, I guess no Miss Adi. If you come, you're always free to share. We have AO with the hand up.
Yeah. Musa Ali, right? You said Musa Ali.
No, but you can go, Musa. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. There you go. Yes.
All right. So 2025, I'm anticipating that I would complete a project I started somewhere last year. It focuses more on diagnosing rare conditions in Africa using knowledge graphs. I mean, there's limited resource when it comes to healthcare in Africa. So as part of the initiative to help curb some of the conditions and the means how people seek healthcare, we decided to start a project using the advancements in AI to develop something that can help cure some or come up with some diagnosis and possible some treatment options for the patients that suffer from such conditions, because we realize that for two people suffering from the same rare conditions, they might respond to different treatment plans. So that is what we've kind of gathered the data and training the data around to be able to do so. I'm anticipating that I'm able to finish it either in the year, or if I'm able to finish mid-year, that would be very, very, very fun for me.
Sounds exciting and very impactful work. Thank you, Musa, for sharing. Yami, are you here? Yami Solves. I hope I'm saying your name right. It's probably I'll butcher some names, but I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, yes, I'm here. Can you guys hear me clearly? I'm in a slightly noisy environment. But can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you not super clearly, but good enough, I think.
Okay, so let me be quick. I started joining the Deep Funding town hall last year, and personally, I look forward to a greater year, right? Because I'm looking at the impact of more the impact of the funding in more community-based projects, not necessarily because of the community, but because of the possibilities that great communities can achieve, right? In different ecosystems, whereby um, when there is, when there is a community with 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 goals that have with goals that are not only impactful for the environment, but also um, help to facilitate um, big stuff. So basically, I think messages are running in my head. But what I'm trying to say is that I look forward to a year of more communities, bigger communities, right? Because I believe that one of the core tenets of a decentralized ecosystem is community, when everybody has a voice and everybody is able to, many people from different backgrounds, from different societies, from different demography are able to put hands together to create really beautiful stuff to solve problems. So I think that's what I look forward to in 2025, and that's what I hope that state funding is able to help achieve, right, on a bigger scale across the world, especially in Africa, because I am heavily invested in Africa and what Africa can be. Africa is a place of big potential, right, and it's big potential, great potential, but dormant, right? And I hope that Deep Funding is able to help facilitate the activation of so many potentials that we have in this part of the world and other parts of the world. Emerging economies like India and Co, whereby there are lots of great potentials, and I'm hoping to see more of such great potentials being activated in talent, in skills, in people, and in communities. Right. So yeah, so that's I don't know if that makes sense to you. What I tried to capture there. Yeah, that's what I look forward to.
Yeah, all good, makes sense. And sounds like you have the potential to help us with this and maybe use your passion to create a hub and bring even more potential and talent from Africa and
Yes,
larger
definitely,
community.
definitely. I look forward to that. I look forward to contributing more. I mean, the last town hall we had, I was the last town hall for 2024, and I remember saying that I look forward to contributing more. I mean, to deep the community, right? 2024, I was unable to really put in my weight, but I'm hoping that this year, this quarter, into basically all the quarters in this year, I'm able to pull in my weight and be able to do more, with the um, deep funding community, right? So yes, I look forward to that. I look forward to that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Yami. Saint David, would you like to say something? Also, AO, you were raising your hand. Do you want to say something?
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, so great to see everyone. It's been a wonderful session. For me, it's three ways. Well, number one, I really look forward to what we are able to achieve with the community hub. And this is me speaking as Ayo from Event Circle. And it is a little background to that for me is that just before we ever had, before Jan ever came up with the idea of updating the RFP to community hubs, at African Guild in the Ambassadors Program of SingularityNET, we actually conducted a research as to what indigenous solutions could look like for African communities. What were the pressing problems? With about three other people, Advance, myself, and two other people. So it's quite interesting that just somewhere around the corner at Bangkok, Jan decided, okay, we're going to just have community ops. I mean, look at that. What are the odds, right? So yeah, so yeah, so I'm quite really excited. I'm very excited about it. So that's one. And while Fotrec team were presenting, there's always a question that comes to my mind when people present great solutions, right? And it is that solutions are as good as the people who adopt them, right? So, I mean, you can have a very brilliant art masterpiece somewhere in a cellar somewhere, the world never gets to see it, but it's still a brilliant masterpiece, right? So, I mean, great solutions should get into the hands of the people. And so all along, I've been having a project in the pipeline called marketing, and I'm looking forward to releasing the MVP in February. So it will be our first time coming to market, and the whole idea of marketing is to help teams, companies, organizations propagate their solutions. So we are using AI, and we're also using so there's an AI face of it, and then there's a human face of it. So it's like being able to have, say, for example, 1,000 advocates on your product who can use AI to market effectively. So something like that. So yeah, so that makes me very, very, very excited. So I said three things. So the final thing is for deep funding, I look forward to much more interesting town halls. Yeah, because I mean, there's a background to, we had the feedback that you guys helped us to respond to. And so I'm looking forward to how to increase and improve the experience of the Deep Funding Global Town Hall. Yeah, so thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, AO. Saint David, would you like to say something or are you not in a position to?
Hello everybody.
Hello. Nice to hear from you.
I don't really have much to say, but I'm just anticipating the general growth of myself in deep funding. Sincerely, I'm just anticipating all the ideas, all the good things that are going to happen this year. Just basically, that's it. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. We all can make impact by improving ourselves and putting ourselves out there. Anthony, you have your hand up. Please go ahead.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for the last year and Happy New Year to everybody. I just want to okay, I'm anticipating advancements in technology. Basically, we are literally very lucky to be around by this time. We're literally at the precipice. We're moving from one age to the other. We're entering the age of enlightenment, basically. So, like, I look forward to advancements in technology and improvements in access to information, because that is like the only way we can sort of resist propaganda, is if everybody has access to information, basically. So improvements in technology basically will make information more accessible, then basically like a new age, yeah, of advancement. So that's what I look forward to. Then with respect to deep funding, I look forward to participating more. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Anthony. Duke, are you there? Can you say something? Duke might not be here. So, Victor, are you there? Would you like to tell us a little bit about your expectations?
Would that be me?
Yes, I think there's no. Yeah, it's you. Unfortunately, there's no other. Today we don't have Rafael with the Victor account.
Okay, I don't know if I'm clear enough,
Yes.
but happy New Year to everyone. Glad I'm very happy seeing everybody's face, especially Ayo. Me and Ayo was supposed to meet last year, but I guess he didn't he didn't come to the place where I was staying. My expectation for Singularity this year or deep funding is I mean we need to see more people in deep funding. I want to stop seeing Ayo's face, only Ayo's face, or Jan's face, or Rafael's face, or I want to see a lot more people. So I guess um, new rounds, the RFP that is open and should bring more people in. So I want to engage with more people. And I've been working with a team, just like Musa said. I think it was Musa that said something about health. I've been working with a team, and we are looking forward to, or we are trying to ideate on building a health chatbot using natural language processing in some way. A full pitch deck is almost ready for something like that, and so it's basically we are going to integrate it with some existing health solutions, and then you can always ask questions and gives you reply on any health issues, and it's different features are going to be on it. Features like reminders on when you are supposed to take your medications, if you need to take medications or something like that. I've been I'm working with a AI expert on building something like that. So maybe that should be my expectation for this year. Let's see if we can bring it to life. And I hope everything goes well for both the funding and everyone in general. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. Ishan, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, hey guys. Good to see everyone. Sorry, my camera's off. I'm not in a position right now to turn it on. But yeah, I'm actually really excited for this year in terms of the Dev Outreach Circle. We already have a couple of people that would like to utilize some sort of onboarding assistance for deep funding in general with the whole platform. So here at the Dev Outreach Circle, we're setting up a team for that to assist with that. So I'm actually pretty excited about that, hoping to have that done within the next month, and then we can have a trial phase We know some people from Gem Galaxy who would really like assistance with, yeah, the whole onboarding thing. So, yeah, excited about that. Excited about setting up maybe a couple more online hackathons, maybe an in-person hackathon. We were talking about that someplace in Africa. That would be pretty nice. But yeah, really excited about what's coming in the next year or so. And yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Shan. Thank you so much for sharing as well. Oscar, are you here? Would you like to speak a little bit? I see you unmuting.
Can you hear me?
Now, yes.
Okay, yeah. So my expectation is, first of all, for 2025 is first of all, complete my master's in computer science, and also try and advance myself in the area of Google data analytics too, as well, and also try and delve more into machine learning. So I'm currently trying to upskill more and try and also catch up with the latest trends that is happening in the world right now. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. I wish you good luck and a lot of success.
Thank you.
Well, Edwin, would you like to speak a little bit today as well? I think Edwin might not be able to. Edwin, if you're able, feel free to unmute whenever you can. Subir, are you there? Would you like to speak a little bit?
Hello, Happy New Year. Yeah, it's the most
Hello.
important thing. No, happy to see so many people here. So no, love to sort of share, and I think it's an year for sharing and educating people. I think it's important to build new things, but I think if we share information, knowledge, and bring everybody up to sort of speed, I think that's going to do wonders, right? Not just in this community generally, but I think I do see that there's a lot of knowledge that is not spread around fast enough. I think whatever I can do to help that go, I will.
Yeah, that's definitely important, right? Knowledge is the basis of a lot of good things in the world, for sure. Thank you, Subir. Pichumani, I hope I'm not saying your name wrong.
Yeah, you have pronounced my name correctly.
Thank
So
you.
I have three goals for 2025. One is to focus on publishing good research papers, impactful research paper, and collaborate with some of the innovative projects and build strong connections with global researchers and institutions for new opportunities. So this is related to my career goal. And personal thing is maintain a healthy balance between my professional commitment and also my personal life.
All right. Sounds like some great goals for sure. Thank you. Igor, would you like to go?
Oh yeah, I am very happy with the hackathon we had, and I think it's just the beginning, right? So I am looking forward to more hackathon. That year, I am hoping to start my doctorate, so I am very happy, looking forward to that. And also, I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Well, Happy New Year to everyone.
All right. Thank you, Igor. Happy New Year and best of luck. Paulo.
Rafael's smile has that effect, make you forget your points.
Okay, I don't know what to say. Let's go to Paulo before I say something wrong. Paulo, are you there?
Everyone, I'm Neil. It's my first meeting, and I think it was great the way you conducted the meeting. I learned a lot about the project and the institution. I think it's important. And I hope to contribute with all products as a reviewer in some projects to help the teams to improve their idea with my experience and learn too, because it is important. And I like the way this community is engaged to create something with a proposal. So this is very, 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 very good to see when the people are talking, the enthusiasm. It's not like a business meeting where everyone have to like a standard way to speak. Here the people are smiling, so it's very positive. And I hope this year we can keep this, and if you can improve in some way and help people, I'm here.
Thank you, Paulo. Glad to have you. Welcome, and we hope to see you more time and keep smiling as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. JP, can you speak?
Yes, I can. Well, this year I will try to continue collaborating with the marketing circle, especially with this round fund that is going to coming up. As she said, we are expecting a more demand from both sides, not only from the new proposers, but from the team from Deep Funding, a more demanding round. We're going to be more in the details. And I will try to collaborate in any digital content creation for Deep Funding. In my personal life, I need to focus on Imbric. This is the logo of my project that I found with some friends. That is an RAWA platform from real estate that we are tokenizing some properties in the United States. So I think that I have a full agenda.
All right, yeah, for sure. Thank you,
You're welcome.
JP. Jan, this time you won't be left for last. What are your expectations?
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I already did the strategy, right? And that really sums up my expectation. But if I would I would summarize that, what I hope is that we will be able to develop Deep Funding program, both from a tool perspective and from a people and processes perspective, and everything tied together in such a way that it enables us for exponential growth with confidence.
All right. Thank you. Well, Bill, our presenter for the day, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. And just very quickly, one thing I'm looking forward to this year, and so I'm a professor, and we have a graduate program. We're moving it into a PhD. I think that's all going to be great. My artificial intelligence center, there's a laboratory component. I have students working with graphs, with large language models, and all that. All very wonderful. But I'm starting to get some emails from people looking for me to participate in summer programs for high school kids as well. Our center has a fairly high profile on campus, and so my email is really something to say. And whereas in the past I might have just said, sorry, just don't really have time for that right now. I'm pushing myself more into the mode of hooking people up, especially people who wouldn't necessarily, these aren't even necessarily college-bound students, hooking them up with some of the advances that other people have the advantage of participating in. And so I'm looking forward to developing and implementing programs with high school kids this summer. I think that'll be an awful lot of fun.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, definitely. Making, like Subir said, sharing the knowledge. Right. Daniel, I think you just arrived. Maybe you're a little bit out of context, but I'll give you a chance as well. We are just wrapping up the town hall, and we were just sharing our expectations and desires for 2025. I don't know if you can speak, but if you can, would you like to say a few words and share yours as well?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I thought it wasn't happening for a while because the link in the calendar events is broken or is a different link or something. So eventually I thought that maybe Mattermost had the link, but it took me a while. Anyway, good to be here and at least catch the end of it. I don't know. I guess expectations is to find a way that makes sense to stay engaged in the community and find some collaborations that we can do together.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle. Also, right now, I don't know if you're aware, we have a community website. I've just shared the link in the chat as well. All the events are there. We have this town hall. We have open all lands, more focused on governance. There you can see the calendar. You can also add it to your Google Calendar if it helps. And hopefully we'll make it even easier to go to the events, and we are also sharing it in Mattermost in the chats for more people to come, or in Telegram as well.
Thank you. Is this different from the previous calendar that existed?
Yes, I think this is exclusive Deep Funding calendar, right? Jan, can you better explain what's the difference between
I'm
these?
not sure what maybe there's still one, an old one indeed. Now you mention it. I'll check that and I'll remove that one.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Danielle, as well. As a new website, so we'll find some bugs, and eventually having your help to find them will make it much easier to fix them. So thank you. Well, everyone, I guess we're wrapping up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for presenting as well, which is awesome. And I hope to see you next week on the Open All Hands, 2 p.m. UTC. And just enjoy the rest of the week. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rafael. Pleasure. Thank you
Bye-bye.
for presenting.
Thank you.